A pleasant day once again for all of you joining us today on Agenda. It is Wednesday, August 17, 2022. And for those of you who are curious, what will our topics be? First up, we will have a veteran senator, respected member of the opposition, who will be talking to us about something I'm personally, and I'm being transparent about it, really irritated with nothing more, no less than the procurement services of the Department of Budget and Management that has been in the middle of so many issues regarding graft and anomalies. We will be speaking to Senator Koko Pimentel regarding that, and of course him becoming the opposition leader in the Senate and other topics. And then after that, we will be speaking to Colonel Bong Nebrija later in the show to give us a quick update on what to expect next week when classes fully open and all the buses are brought in for the students, etc. Are we looking forward to a sabi nga nila, pandemonyo sa EDSA, okay, because of the traffic. Anyway, let's start the day on a good note, and let's go and reflect on our daily starter. Our daily starter comes from author Jim Quick, and he says, when you do what others won't, you can live how others can't. If you save money today, you can have a quality of life that is better than other people in the future who didn't save. If you invest on your health today, chances are you will be alive 5, 10, maybe even 15 years longer than those who did not live a healthy lifestyle. And if you do not invest on your relationship with the Lord, chances are the blessings will not be as abundant and your peace of mind not as great as when you are walking in the words and teachings of the Lord. So Jim Quick says, when you do what others won't, you can live how others can't. Tandaan po ninyo yan. Let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star for a quick run-through of the front page. BBM accepts SRA head's resignation. Okay? So, ano po, official na tinanggap yung resignation, nabubulol yata ako, resignation of the Sugar Regulatory Administrator. At the top of the front page, the header, Philippines is back in the United States CDC, Centers for Disease Control's high travel risk list. In other words, according to the CDC in the US, our number of cases has reached a proportion where they now consider it risky, high risk to travel to the Philippines. So yan po. Meanwhile, the National Library, in that front page photo that you see at the top part, is showing the original version of Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tangere. Yan po, no? And then, on the right side of the front page, Gab, pakisalo na lang, no immediate Supreme Court TRO on NCAP, okay? Because 4 transportation organizations went to the Supreme Court asking for temporary restraining order on the no contact apprehension policy. But instead, the Supreme Court said, teka, submit all of your position papers, evidence, etc. before we decide. Kasi hindi naman ika nga life and death or can cause irreparable damage. Okay. Now, postponing barangay and SK elections to cost additional 5 billion according to the COMELEC. Contrary to the claims of certain members of Congress, who say it will be money saving, lumalabas itong postponement of the SK and barangay elections will cost all of us 5 billion pesos. However, from what I understand, the lower house has already agreed or passed the bill to suspend or postpone the elections. Okay, that center photo on the front page of the Philippine Star is a photo of college students lining up in front of the Colegio de San Lorenzo in Quezon City, which closed down, officially announced their closure at the opening of school because they could no longer sustain the cost of operations and because of lower enrollments. Okay. Now, still related to the sugar, direct sugar imports mulled for food firms. In other words, Malacanang and the Department of Agriculture, through the Sugar Regulatory Administration, is considering allowing private organizations, corporations, to import their sugar needs, particularly the companies who produce beverages. Okay, so kanya-kanya. Kay KB na naman tayo, kanya-kanyang bili ng asukal. Higher SRP for canned meat, bottled water, okay. Ayan na po ang masaklap, okay? Those of you who love to buy canned pork, canned corned beef, etc., and bottled water, you will be paying anywhere additional 3.5 to 10%, depende on the product and the size of the product, because the DTI recognizes that inflation, supply chain disruption, and other increases has caused the products to be requiring price increase. Country needs antiviral arsenal amid COVID rise. Okay. Businessman Joey Concepcion has stated that we should not be caught unawares. Kailangan mag-imbak. We have to stock up on antiviral medicines and protocols so that we don't suffer another attack of another virus and are not prepared. And last but not the least, DOH sets up 3,000 vaccination center in schools that are strategically located. Meaning, hindi po kailangang lahat ng eskwelahan malagyan ng vaccination center. Ang gagawin lang nila, if there are areas like a U-belt where schools are next to each other, universities are next to each other, they will place a vaccination center there. So students from the other colleges and universities can simply go to where the vaccination center is and take advantage. Okay, that photo on the bottom of the front page of the Philippine Star is a opening. Okay, opening yan po, no? Leading the inaugural ceremony of the Cavitex C5 Link flyover extensions, our former Congressman Monico Puentevella, Cavitex Infrastructure Corp President and GM Raul Ignacio, DPWH Undersecretary for Planning, and PPP Maria Catalina Cabral, Metro Pacific Investment Corporation Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan, Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista, Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation President and CEO Rodrigo Franco, and MPIC Head of Government Relations, Attorney Mike Toledo. Yan po sila. Ayan, inopen na nila yung Cavitex C5 link over officially. Okay, so those are our news articles on the front page of the Philippine Star. Just a greeting to Dr. Emily Roleda. Doc Emily, nagpatingin na ako sa doktor, sa ophthalmologist. Okay, pumasa naman ako. And then, of course, Hyundai Motors Corporation, good morning to you because apparently Hyundai, the corporation, will now officially be running its operations here directly. Hindi na through a local distributor or local agent. Sila na, and they are launching a media meet-up later today. Okay, let's now go to our first topic. As I said, this recurring headache, recurring nightmare, the procurement service of the Department of Budget and Management. Let's speak to our first guest for the morning. Let's watch this video.
Senator Koko Pimentel is the Senate Minority Floor Leader at the 19th Congress. He also previously served as Senate President. Other than this, he is the current chairman of PDP Laban, the political party founded by his late father, former Senate President Nene Pimentel. Pimentel is also a lawyer who topped the 1990 bar exams.
Okay, Senator Pimentel, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, magandang umaga, maayong buntag, naimbag nga bigat, Cito, at sa lahat po ng nakikinig at nanonood po sa atin.
You just reminded me I have to brush up on my Bisaya and my...
Maupay na aga, maayong aga.
Maayong aga sa imo, sir. Okay, let's now talk about the PS-DBM problem. To begin with, could you kindly explain to us, Senator, how did this creature or this agency come about? Because alam mo, malaki naman ang tanda ko sa'yo, and traditionally, government procurement is undertaken by the department or agency directly concerned.
Correct.
It is never relegated, allocated, or diverted to a different, particularly not the DBM. How did this happen?
Okay, PS-DBM has not been created by ordinary law. Yung mga Republic Act, wala po yan. As a research namin, it's either a PD or an EO. Yung, sa mga kilos lang nung executive branch yan, noong unang panahon. Pero dahil sa kinikilala na siya as a separate structure, we can pass a law to dissolve that. To dissolve it. Na para talaga mabura na siya. Kasi paulit-ulit na lang natin siyang naririnig. Dati, binuo yan para bilhin yung mga common supplies, yung items which the government, the different government agencies regularly purchase anyway.
Okay.
Ano example nito? Especially before the internet, wala pang before automation, wala pa namang call about paperless, di ba? So what are the examples of the commonly used supplies in government service? Papel, ballpen, paper clips, folder, because we file, di ba? We file our papers, then fastener, ganun. So the thinking is, if the government consumes reams by the short band or long band reams by the hundreds of thousands, if one agency buys in bulk, we can take advantage of this so-called economies of scale. Yan yung theory, ha? That's the theory, di ba? If you buy 100,000 folders, baka yung supplier can give you a discount rather than different agencies buying 5,000 folders.
Okay.
That's the idea. Ngayon, this is the problem now, this is what I call the structural defect in the idea. Since the PS-DBM, ang word po na PS means Procurement Service, and then dash DBM, Department of Budget and Management.
Mhm.
So anong idea natin? What idea or message do we get? 'Di ba? We get the impression that the PS-DBM is just a branch, a division of the DBM. Hindi ba?
Correct.
Kasi PS-DBM eh. And yet, during the Farmally investigation, ang sabi ng DBM secretary doon, although the head of the PS-DBM is an undersecretary of the DBM, the secretary does not supervise him or her. So nakita mo ba yun? So ang impression natin, PS-DBM, therefore may boss yan. At least mayroong magdidisiplina dyan na from the secretary of DBM. In reality, hindi. So
parang attached agency lang sila?
Attached agency lang na parang on paper lang kasi hindi makikialam yung kahit yung saan mo siya in-attach, hindi daw makikialam eh.
Okay.
So in effect it is ako nga Cito ang aking understanding diyan or analogy. There was created a separate department na hindi natin alam na hindi bylaw nangyari. It becomes the procuring department, hindi ba? Na ang budget niya mas malalaki pa sa budget ng ibang departments.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. So, for example, bigyan kita ng example, yung Farmally, nalaman natin sa Farmally investigation that the DOH kasi maraming budget yun eh. Mga hundreds of billions yan eh. 42 billion ng budget ng DOH, pinasa niya kay PS-DBM to purchase PPEs and maybe other items. Pinasa niya yung 42 billion. Ha? Mm-hmm. So therefore, because of that, this obscure division or agency got 42 billion. Kung tignan mo yung budget ng ibang department, for example, Department ng Trade and Industry, wala namang 42 billion budget yun eh. Siguro, ang budget yata ng DTI, if I remember correctly, anywhere from 15 to 20 billion. So mas malaki pa ngayon ang procurement itong isang agency whose head we do not even know unless and until they got involved in controversies na nakilala tuloy who was the head, di ba? Mm-hmm. The head of the DTI with a smaller budget goes through the confirmation process of the CA. The head of the PS-DBM, who is not known, does not need to go through a confirmation process. That's why he or she will remain not known, and yet he or she manages amounts larger than some departments. Okay,
but who officially, in terms of legalities, who appointed these people, including the current head of the PS-DBM?
Okay, as I understood it from the past investigations, dalawahin ko na lang kasi hindi ko na it's either the president, it's either the president or the secretary of the DBM. Pero this is what I distinctly remember. The secretary of the DBM, nung nag-appear doon sa Farmally investigation, naguhugas ng kamay na hindi ko undersecretary ko yung head ng PS-DBM pero hindi ko kontrolado ang kilos ng mga yan. So, imagine mo yon. So, akala natin because it is under DBM, at least somebody controls. Other controls or supervisors or monitors. Wala pala eh.
Yeah, allow me to just pursue this particular thing that you're talking about. Having said what you've said about the PS-DBM, so the only suspect, if you want to call them suspect, or who appointed the head of the PS-DBM is the president or through the office of the president.
Yes.
The money that they have control over, they are no longer an order-taking agency because, as you said, traditionally, they take common or orders of common products o sundries, kung tawagin natin,
Sundries,
mga pang-araw-araw na kailangan. But special purchases like specific to a particular department is no longer common to other departments. Now, di ba, 50 million lang, titirahin ka na ng plunder. What is the legal basis of all of this in terms of COA?
Well, ang COA seems to have accepted the setup that PS-DBM procures. Diba? Ang findings lang ng COA is, for example, let's go to this laptop procurement.
Yeah.
Yung transfer daw of 2.4 billion pesos from DepEd to PS-DBM is not supported by the documents. It's not properly documented. Pero in essence, pag properly documented, COA will find nothing wrong with the transfer of the money so that PS-DBM can procure laptops, which is not anymore commonly used supplies, di ba? Kasi ano na yan, hindi na yan papel, gano'n. So that means apparently the mandate of the PS-DBM has evolved over time. Inaalaw na rin siyang bumili ng mga specialized equipment. Which we will have to review kasi nga, okay, ano ba ang assumption? Why pass to one entity the task of buying repeatedly ordered items? Diba? Yun kasi number one, so that bulk, economies of scale, and then number two, over time, itong ahensyang ito will be an expert with institutional memory kasi pinapasa nung, di ba, ipapasa naman yan sa mga successors yung alam nung ahensya. So, expert na sila sa papel, fastener, ballpen, pati presyo nito, hindi mo na ito maloloko, mga ganun kasi alam na namin yan. So, kahit tulog sila, kaya na nila yung procurement process for these commonly used items. That's the idea. That's the idea. Pero ngayon, kung bibigyan mo naman, ako si PS-DBM, sanay ako sa papel, fastener, folder, okay, bigyan mo ako ngayon ng laptop. Hindi ba parehas lang tayo ng alam? It's going to be new for me. If it was new for you. Actually, baka nga masanay pa yung DepEd kung nakapag-procure na sila ng laptop before. So, yung mga ganon. So, tapos dumating din sa PPE, personal protective equipment, di ba? Now, which is
because traditionally, specialized equipment or actual purchases of a department is undertaken directly by the department, its agencies or units through public bidding.
Correct.
Ito parang trabaho mo, pinasa mo sa PS-DBM.
Correct.
Na hindi naman sila expert dyan.
Din, lumalabas na hindi din sila expert dyan. Pero siyempre, ang posturing is expert kami sa kahit anong klaseng government procurement kasi PS-DBM nga sila. Pero kaya if we go back in time sa kanilang history and the main purpose, i-concede natin expert kayo sa tinatawag mga sundries, yung mga commonly used government supplies. Ibigay na rin natin sa kanila yun. Pagdating siguro sa papel, expert na yan sila.
Yeah.
Na kung merong mag-quote dyan na doble ang presyo ng papel, dapat huling-huli na nila yon kasi expert sila eh.
Yeah.
Pero pagdating nga sa bagong bagay na, baka pantay lang yung alam ni PS-DBM sa alam nung requesting agency.
Yeah, so Senator Pimentel, how do we remedy this? Because in such a short time, I think, a period of 1 year, we can already point to 3 scandalous events under the PS-DBM. The first one was the Pharmaly anomaly, which is billions. Then the second one was the PPE and related materials for hospitals was also in billions. And now
1.3.
we are discovering that for the DepEd, the PS-DBM also purchased ito naman instead of anomaly, incorrectly, which is borders on graft.
Which could amount to the same thing. Kasi when, di ba, government procurement ito, I ordered a specific laptop with a speed of 1.9 at a certain price, and then bibigyan mo ako ng slower laptop at the speed of 1.8 at a higher price. Medyo it defies ordinary vigilance, di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi siyempre yung nag-o-order din, kaya parating pinapasok ko yung konsepto na the good father or good mother of the family. Concerned if you are kung ikaw isang mabuting ama o ina ng isang pamilya, concerned ka sa gastusin ng pamilya. Ayaw mo naman naliloloko yung pamilya mo sa pinabili mo ng white sugar at 100 pesos per kilo, ang binili brown sugar, ang sabi 120 pesos per kilo. Parang if you're a good father of the family, medyo magtatanong ka. Magagalit ka. Oh.
Senator Pimentel, let's do a very quick break, and when we come back, I would like you to answer this simple question. Should the PS-DBM allow to exist, or should we just demolish it, dissolve it, and then let the biddings and purchases be undertaken back to the traditional way? We'll go for a quick break. Please answer that when we return. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. Thank you for those of you who are subscribers of Cignal TV, viewers of One News PH, and of course to those of you who catch us via Facebook and on YouTube. Maraming salamat po. Hello to Mr. Stephen Yu of the Mandaue Chamber of Commerce, Andrew and Estrella Lam in Ilocos, and of course Solid North Marketing bosses, Mr. and Mrs. Romeo Chan. Okay, let's go back to Senator Koko Pimentel. Mr. Senator, your answer, please.
It's time to abolish the PS-DBM. Okay, tandaan natin, ginawa ito noon, wala pang internet, wala pang halos automation. So now with the information available at our fingertips, information as to costing, prices of items, I think the agencies can do the procurement themselves. Kaya naman nila because these are the supplies that they use every year. And then they already know bidding processes because agencies now have their own biddings and awards committee. And then let us just maintain this time a desk or a team at the DBM which can post which can post prices of items used by government. I-post lang nila for guidance. Di ba? So, kunyari, folder would be 2 pesos. Guidance naman ito ng government agency na magbibid ng folders na kung bumili kayo niya ng 6 pesos, you'll get in trouble. Kasi yung presyo nga is 2 pesos a piece, 1 piece. Ngayon, bibili niyo ng 6 pesos na in bulk, medyo issue na po yan. So, ganon, maybe this team, just an office, can think of all possible items na binibili ng gobyerno, even the DICT, so computers na yan, mga ganyan, hanggang kahit ano, table.
It can also be under the Department of Trade since they are more exposed to the actual commerce of these products.
Right. So when we abolish PS-DBM, gawa na lang tayo ng we point to either the DTI nga or the DBM to put up the guidance rates or guidance prices. Guidance lang naman. Kung di mo ma-eksakto, kunyari 2 pesos na, kuha nyo ng 2.05, 2 pesos 5 centavos, we can see na wala naman sigurong bad faith doon. But di ba, a 2 peso item, binili mo ng 6 pesos, malabo na yun. So, I think this setup can work now, given that there is now the internet. There's availability of information. Ang sinasabi ko lang naman, we have this office to organize the information. Pero the information they can also get from the internet, from an online research, or from some phone canvassing or actual physical canvassing.
Actually, punta ka lang sa Facebook at saka Shopee, Lazada, kita mo na eh. Anyway.
Okay, pero meron din specs Cito
Yeah.
Specs. I mean, hindi rin pwedeng bibili ka ng office chair pero one time use only. Pag inupuan na nung user na normal yung weight, 160 pounds lang, bumigay na. Hindi po pwede yun.
Yes, sir. Anyway, on a related matter, now you mentioned that the creation of PS-DBM or the empowerment seems to be based more on a presidential decree or executive order.
Yes.
Now, one of the hot issues now involves the local legislation for the non-contact apprehension policy. Because before, yung MMDA, they already had no contact apprehension. And no one was complaining because it was the MMDA, they had the authority, and they were legally allowed to collect fines. And suddenly, the local governments, under the claim of local government code, creates legislation, enters to PPP, and Congressman Joey Salceda pointed out, teka, number one, local governments cannot pass on the responsibility of collecting fines from offenders to a private sector because it's part of the police power. And then it turns out that local governments cannot just make laws regarding roads and signages unless they have clearance from the DPWH. So ngayon umabot na tayo sa Supreme Court. What I'm heading towards, Senator Koko, is this. How do we prevent just anybody who got elected or who feels empowered that they can come up with any law they want, create any government agency or attached agency just to suit their needs or their politics?
We have to resort to the court system. That's why our justice system is very important, and the speed at which the courts dispose of the cases brought to it. Kasi kung alam mo, justice delayed is really justice denied. And then, if cases like this, example, this complaints from constituents, complaints from consumers, if you allow this to pend for a long time, naging pending lang siya, the frustrations will tend to boil And then finally there will be a public display of frustration. So wala akong masagot kasi Cito, except we have to avail of the court system. That's why kasi tapos na eleksyon eh. I mean the first line of defense actually is in the campaign and in the choosing of the leaders. Okay.
Yes.
And kahit alam mo yung plano nila or disagree ka sa gagawin nila, nanalo pa rin sila. Okay, and here comes now yung what you were fearful of, yung kanilang planong gawing ito. Na taasan lahat ng taxes, taasan lahat ng permit, tapos ginawang in-automate, third party ang nagsabi may kasalanan ka, video lang ang So then you question this in your local court. Kaya nga merong mga RTCs sa lugar eh. And then
so wala tayong pwedeng ipasambatas kasi katulad like yung naging problema, naging challenge of many telecoms company where they could not put up cell sites quickly because so many local government units put up this special permit requirement, yung pala holdapan lang. Asking starting from 50,000, it went all the way to 300,000 pesos, and until the national government decided enough is enough, and the courts decided enough is enough. Pero yung bang gano'n, in the meantime, it slows down business, development, economy, and as you pointed out, frustrates people.
Yes, pero let us say baka hindi applicable yung ating example, which is the use of the radio waves, airwaves. Itong ating pinag-usapan kasi would be the use of the roads, physical roads.
No, I'm talking about setting up yung mga cell sites, yung mga towers.
Yes. Okay.
Kasi hindi ba dati
okay
business permit lang eh.
Okay
Biglang
but
ngayon special permit na.
Yes. Okay yan. Because pero dito sa non-contact which are the local rules on the use of the streets, traffic rules, merong authority kasi ang local local governments dito. Otherwise si mayor talaga kawawa rin, talagang puputaktahin ng mga criticism yan kung masyadong matraffic. Pero ito nga sa nababasa ko at sa nakwento mo Cito, meron medyo it raises really a question as well as a bad taste in the mouth na merong third party provider, a private entity, a private company which determines who violated and what, tapos pati yung fine. And ito yung nabasa ko ang payment yata rito sa third party provider is also dependent on the generated fines. Meron siya yatang part doon sa whatever fines are imposed. So yun po ang delikadong provision. I hope they raise that in their petition before the courts, because that arrangement is really dangerous, because that gives now the motivation, the economic motivation for this private entity to maximize the offenses so as to maximize the fines to be collected. So, and then meron siyang economic benefit. So that is a very questionable setup. Hindi dapat pinapasok ko yan na there is a loophole there where we can say na there could be a possible extraneous factor, yung economic benefit, kaya ka natitikitan. So yan po, hindi magandang arrangement yun, and I hope the future local government units which want to control the traffic situation in their territorial jurisdiction, which is a legitimate concern naman, should not contract this out to private third parties with incentive, with a provision which incentivizes the collection of penalties and fines.
Okay. Senator, I know you have a busy schedule ahead of you. So allow me to ask you, okay, you are head of the two-person opposition in the Senate, but still loud enough and strong enough. So my question is, what is your priority concern, at least for the remainder of 2022?
Well, the budget na. It's going to be the budget for year 2023. We have to examine that budget line by line to the best of the ability of the two-man minority. Titignan po namin yan line by line. And si President Marcos being himself the Secretary of Agriculture, I anticipate that the budget should reflect his priorities, and that would be in agriculture. Okay, and hopefully, the reason for this hopefully is because he wants to improve and increase our food production. Kasi increased food production is also one way of fighting inflation. So, kung ganyan nga ang mangyayari, I mean, we will be a constructive minority naman sito.
Okay,
So,
I just
natin yung budget,
okay. Just to quickly share with you, I just watched a video biography of Shimon Peres when he became Prime Minister of Israel, and he was under threat of facing a 1,000% inflation. Nilockdown niya yung buong cabinet niya and required them to do drastic cuts in their budget, and unpopular as it was for his cabinet members and in those in government, it actually worked. It saved the economy, and it was popular with the Israelis. Now, being the opposition, will you be pushing? Because President Marcos BBM has already said, magra-right sizing sila. What about you? What would your position be regarding the size of government and what it spends?
Well, ready ako for belt tightening. Matagal ko nang panawagan yan. Belt tightening tayo. That's why together with the executive branch, we should all go over the budget. Alisin na muna natin dun yung mga non-essential expenses. Okay, non-essential. And then yung right sizing, that's the correct term. It is not really cutting in size the government, but right size lang. I mean, we can even add specialized agencies. But that's the structure. But the people manning the new agencies can come from the existing government employees na from other agencies, ilipat sila. That is what I understand right sizing to be, making government more responsive at this particular complex scientific modern time. Na ganun na yun ano na po ito expertise, efficiency, so that we decide things quickly and correctly. Because the people deciding have knowledge about the specialized matter that they are deciding on. So yun yung meaning ko yun ang meaning ko ng right sizing. So I am not fearful of creating a new agency, Department of Disaster Resilience and Preparedness. But now, okay na yun, that's the legal basis. Pero the staffing can come from the other agencies, the Office of Civil Defense, some DPWH, mga ganon. So
yung mga overstaffed.
That's right sizing the government. Tapos nagkaroon pa tayo ng specific agency for a specific task which is very needed in this highly complex scientific world that we have.
Okay, well, I won't take any more of your time, but you have a busy schedule. But thank you very much, Senator Koko Pimentel, and we do hope that in the future you would call on us if we can be of assistance. And God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Cito. So just if you need more information, just call me anytime. I will be available. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Senator Koko Pimentel, leader of the opposition in the Philippine Senate. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, let's speak with retired Colonel Bong Nebrija regarding what we should be expecting with the return of classes as far as Metro Manila traffic is concerned here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program Agenda. Let's now speak to our next guest. Let's do the intro video first.
Edison Bong Nebrija is the commander of the MMDA's Task Force Special Operations. Nebrija has been in charge of implementing changes to the traffic management in EDSA. Prior to his role in the agency, Nebrija was a captain in the Philippine Navy and a graduate of the Philippine Military Academy class of 1991.
Okay, good morning, bro. Good morning to you and your team.
Good morning, Cito, and good morning to all your followers.
Okay, I'll have to ask you fast questions because we don't have much time, Colonel Bong. But first of all, a lot of people are wondering, why was the morning version of the color coding reintroduced?
This was reintroduced, Cito, because of the anticipation for the opening of face-to-face classes in public and private schools. So we based on our data, there's a projection of an increase or surge in volume of vehicles to 436,000 in EDSA alone. This is way beyond the pre-pandemic volume that we had in July of 2019, which was around 405,000. And having said that, we're really overspilling on EDSA, considering that its carrying capacity is only 268,000. So now, in anticipation of this, we do not want EDSA to be branded as a parking lot, and we anticipated this and introduced this expanded number coding hours, because on our data, aside from the 5 to 8, since we these past few weeks, the 7 to 10 hours have been also peaking. So that's why we do not want to, put a number coding hours for the whole day. We just wanted which ones will be effectively address the problem of volume on EDSA, which is only from 7 to 10 and 5 to 8.
Okay, I understand that you have been given a grace period to motorists who are unaware. Kumbaga, okay, sige, this time you get a pass, but by next week, wala nang mercy, wala nang grace. Lahat kayo mapaparusahan. Now, what are we expecting in terms of lane assignments? Kasi, honestly, Colonel Bong, when I go on EDSA, I get confused because the sign says clearly bus lane, pero may mga private cars pa rin na pumapasok. Sabi ko next week may 100 buses daw additional on the bus carousels. This is going to be a disaster in the making. What are your thoughts?
Well, Cito, actually, when I was the head of EDSA, I've been strictly implementing the busway to be confined to buses only and restrict all the motorcycles and private vehicles. Sa totoo lang, Cito, ilang aksidente na nakita namin dyan. I've seen so many faces of death with those vehicles trying to enter the busway and being hit by the buses. And in all these accidents, there are two families affected. The victim and the one who's driving, who is just earning his job, daily wage, and then ma-aksidente dyan dahil may isang kamote na pumasok sa busway.
Okay, so are you going to strictly enforce that again with the opening of classes?
Yes, Cito. Actually, this afternoon we're going to have another traffic management group meeting. We have raised this issue already because if you could see, we have already removed all the barriers on top of the flyovers and underneath the underpasses. Wala na pong barriers yan. Talagang strictly yellow lane na lang. Because one of the reasons also that we have found out, nai-stress yung flyovers natin sa bigat ng mga barriers. Kaya tinanggal na po natin yan. If you have noticed the one that happened in Kamuning flyover, na nagkaroon tayo ng butas doon, ito yung isa sa mga reasons kung bakit namin tinanggal yung mga concrete barriers on flyovers kasi it stresses the flyovers actually because of the weight.
So siguro para magaan lang, maglagay ka na lang ng poster. NCAP implemented. Kasi talagang praning na lahat. Para you become so paranoid who's watching me.
But actually, Cito, we have NCAP along the busway. We apprehend both the buses and the motorists.
Okay, but speaking of NCAP, I've supported the NCAP of MMDA because at the time, ang singil lang naman ninyo, 500. Madugo na yung 1,000. But now, people are saying, magkano ba talaga? How much is the MMDA charging for NCAP violations?
The same thing. Hindi pa kami nagbabago. Siguro ang nagbago lang. We have increased yung obstruction to 1,000 and illegal parking to 2,000. So, aside from kami pinakamababa ang disregarding traffic sign namin, which is very common and the highest violation committed each year, 150 lang po sa amin yan. Ang sa
which is why Filipinos or Metro Manila drivers have abide by your NCAP system, unlike the 4 cities in Metro Manila. Now, so NCAP will be imposed and lagay mo na yung mga poster dun sa mga flyway para magkalinawan na. Okay, but anyway, seriously, Colonel Bong, as far as motorcycles are concerned, because you've done a good job, the government has done a good job, especially during the past administration for buses. What about motorcycles? Kasi laging kino-complain sa akin yan. Meron ka nang nakikitang lane, meron ng line, pero uso pa rin yung lane splitting and lumalabas ng lane yung mga motorcycle. Are we going to do now a more forceful enforcement of motorcycles on their lanes?
Well, Cito, on EDSA, talking about EDSA, we have suspended the motorcycle lane on EDSA. Since the motorcycle lane before was on the fourth lane of EDSA, which is fourth lane coming from the curbside. So this fourth lane is just beside the busway that we have put for the EDSA carousel route. And we find it dangerous to put the motorcycle lane beside the busway. So that's why we suspended the motorcycle lane on EDSA only. It still exists in C5, in Macapagal, and in Commonwealth.
But why not put it on the rightmost lane, which is what is being done now and is actually the international standard? You go abroad, you go to Malaysia, to the Netherlands, it's all on the rightmost lane.
That's right, Cito. Actually, we already had our third public consultation with motorcycle groups and other stakeholders regarding this. We've been trying to come up with a motorcycle lane on EDSA, just that we had a change of administration and we still need to revive all these policies that have been set aside during the election period. Hopefully, this in the next few months, where we look back to the policies that we haven't implemented yet, we can talk about the motorcycle lanes again.
Okay. What about school buses? Kasi some of them are saying, bus din naman kami, kahit minivan kami, school bus pa rin kami. Will they be allowed to use the bus lanes?
No, sir. They will not be allowed to use the bus lanes. We haven't talked about this. I think it's also an issue that we need to raise, if we will allow them or not.
Yeah,
so
kasi
far,
yung those going through EDSA, if they take EDSA, it will be point-to-point generally. So it might be worth considering, parang kumbaga just to have an open mind about it, because the kids need to get to school early. And yun ang problema natin, Colonel Bong. Our children have to get up at 4 in the morning just to be in school at 7. And all because of the traffic. So perhaps if we can create some unusual solutions, magaling naman ang MMDA dyan na para mapabilis lang yung travel ng mga bata.
That's a good suggestion, Cito. We will consider that. We just need to take the volume of the school buses that passes through EDSA, so that because we do not also want to interfere with the travel speed, the travel time of the buses, because they're carrying more passengers and commuters to work. So anyway, that's a good suggestion. I will raise that in our traffic management group meeting. If we could find the volume of school buses that passes through EDSA, and if that is, if we can allow them also to traverse that. Besides, they're not for the whole day. They will only be using the busway just in case during the times of drop-off and pick-up of students.
Okay. Are they going to be part of the coding or are they exempt from coding?
They're accepted from coding, Cito.
Okay. Nililinaw lang po natin yan, mga kaibigan. School buses, official school buses. Hindi yung village school bus na merong may van, pinuno ng bata. Pasensyahan na tayo dyan. Does the MMDA give a special permit or card para dun sa mga parang community vans ba? Because usong-uso yan Nagtitipid because of the fuel. And okay, I have a van. All of the children can ride with me and we will take turns. Does the MMDA give special permit and cards for those community buses, school bus?
Well, if that will be carpooling, Cito, there will be no problem on that. Especially, you're right, community-based, magkakapit-bahay, goes to the same school, parents will alternate in bringing their children to school. That's no problem. As long as they have agreed that this will be, nobody will take liability just in case something happens. If it's community-based, family-based, or among friends, I think there's no problem when it comes to carpooling.
Okay, thank you very much, Colonel Bong Nebrija, and magkita tayo minsan. Pakisabihan sila Brian Tang, sila sila Sam Newson.
Yes.
Magpakain naman sila, puro sila post. Thank you very much, Colonel.
Thank you, Cito. Have a nice day. God bless you.
Okay, God bless you too. My brother in the Lord, Colonel Bong Nebrija. Okay, let's close our program today with our blessing. And it comes from Isaiah chapter 65, verses 23 to 24. For those who put their faith and trust in the Lord, they shall not labor in vain or bear children for calamity. For they shall be the offspring of the blessed of the Lord, and their descendants with them. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. I pray that the Lord will hear and answer all your concerns. God bless you. Please keep it here on One News PH.